Wow, what a week of credit card news and changes, both good and bad. From BMO, RBC, Rogers, and Scotiabank. We have another Flying Blue devaluation on our hands, and we take our first look at the new Air Transat Rewards program. All this and a lot more on Rewards Canada's This Week in Rewards for August 22nd, 2026. If you're looking to make the most of your loyalty program and credit card reward programs, you've come to the right place. This is your weekly dose of loyalty, travel, and credit card happenings in Canada from Canada's original and leading points and miles resource, Rewards Canada. I'm your host, Patrick, the founder of Rewards Canada, and we're going to kick things off this week with credit cards. So where do I even begin? It's been like 2 weeks since we had our last video, and in the past 2 weeks there has been a lot of credit card happenings, from new bonus offers, some exclusive offers, which I'll cover here as well, some good changes to some cards, and some not so good changes to some other cards. So I think we'll start off with the one that's been capturing the most news. I've done a few media hits on this one as well, and those are the changes to the Scotiabank Momentum Visa cards. So these are their cashback cards, and if you haven't seen the news yet, the big news is that they're going to cut tax payments and rent payments from the 4% cashback earned on recurring payments and bills. So this stems from a lot of these new third-party companies that allow you to pay bills or certain payments that do not accept credit cards with a credit card. So basically you pay this company with your credit card and they charge you a fee to do so, and in turn they make that payment for you. So basically you want to come out ahead. So you want to use a card that has a higher earn rate than the fee you're being charged by the company. So of course probably one of the most famous ones in Canada, or at least recently, and in the points and miles community, is Chexi. So we find Chexi, Neobank, Tenant Pay, Pay Simply. There's all these companies that do what Chexi does. Chexi's not the only one, but a lot of people focus on Chexi, of course, because there's a lot of marketing in that Scotia Momentum Cards 4%. Basically, you know, if you looked at a lot of Chexi's old articles or even Neobank's, their comparisons, they were saying, yeah, you can get 4% cash back, and we only charge you 1.75%. At least that's what Chexi charges. I believe Neobank could be 1 to 2% or 1.5 to 2. I don't have it in front of me. But basically, so you'd be getting 4% cash back and be giving up 1.75% on that. So you're earning 2.25%. Technically, it's a touch higher than that because you're also earning cash back on the fees that you're paying to like Chexi or the other places. But just for simple math, we're going to say it's 4% minus 1.75%. So people were coming out ahead by 2.25% by using the Scotia Momentum Visa Infinite Plus. Most of the focus is on the Infinite Plus card because that's 4%. So that was the card a lot of people were using for Chexi or these other places for rent and tax payments. So that is ending as of October. You will no longer earn 4%. It will be 1% or even 0.5% on the no fee Momentum Visa. I have the cards and their respective earn rates up on the screen right now. So this has generated a bunch of news. A lot of people are not happy. People are saying, oh, this is going to affect Scotia. How could Scotia do this? Here's what's happening is, because of that marketing by these third-party companies, a lot of people have jumped on the Momentum Visa Infinite Plus card just to pay rent and taxes. So of course, somebody like Scotia cannot make money off of somebody just earning 4% on taxes and rent payments. And what people were doing was getting another card, because here's the thing, the Momentum Visa Infinite Plus is capped at $25,000 a year in that 4% earning, which also includes groceries as well. But some people were just recently getting the card strictly for rent and taxes. So of course that's not making Scotia money, so they have to make these changes. They run a business and they want to be profitable. I know it's a big bank, they make lots of money, but they look at every little line item. And so people have been getting the card just to use with these payment providers, and they're not making money on it, so hence the change. But you'll notice it's only taxes and rent. Other utilities, insurance, daycare, other payments that you can make through these providers will still earn that 4%. And you may be asking, well, why didn't they cap it all, like all recurring payments? Number one, you can make a lot of recurring payments directly with a lot of utility companies, like NMAX, Direct Energy. So many of these places do accept credit cards directly, so you're going to earn the 4%. You'll earn the full 4%. You're not paying a fee for doing so. That's why they kept it in place. They were only curbing those really big payments, which are tax and rent made through these third-party companies. Utilities and other payments tend to be lower. Yeah, I know insurance can get high as well, But for most people, the biggest expenses were rent and taxes. So those are my thoughts on why this has been done, because the biggest payments were those rent and taxes, and that was, people were jumping on multiple Momentum Visa Infinite cards just to use for that. So yeah, so that, unfortunately, that is the change to the Momentum Visa Infinite Plus cards. I know a lot of people said they're going to be canceling the cards now, while a lot of people in the Chexi subreddit and things like that were saying that there's going to be a lot of Canadians who will not. You have to remember that the Scotiabank Momentum cards were some of the best, and still are some of the best cashback credit cards in the market. Now, true cashback cards, of course, we have the travel cards that have cashback components that are just as good or better, but they're still, in the top 10 cards. At least the Momentum Visa Infinite Plus card is in the top 10. Actually, it's in the top 5 cashback cards, if I recall my rankings correctly. I believe it's in 5th spot. I'll have to double check that. But anyways, they are some of the better cards. They always have been. They were before all these companies like Chexi, Neobank came along. So they're still going to be there, and a lot of Canadians are still going to use them for those direct utility payments. They're going to use it for their groceries. They're going to earn that 4% cash back, because there are some people who just do not want to try the points game, even though points can get you more value sometimes. But yeah, the 4% is great, and that is why the cards will still be around. It's not a product that's going to change from Scotia very much. Actually, they changed it earlier, right, this year, made it better, because you can now pretty much have on-demand cash back rather than waiting once per year. So it is still a very good card. It's just upset a lot of people who were using it for those rent and tax payments. And unfortunately, that is the vicious circle of credit card rewards and loyalty rewards. We find the ways that we can maximize the value. The companies see that they're not making money on that, so they curb that, and then we have to find the next way to maximize value. And that circle just keeps going around and around. It's been like that since I started in this industry 25 years ago, even before that. I mean, I've had my Aeroplan membership since the 1980s, so I've seen a lot of program changes even before I dove into being somebody in the loyalty industry. But yeah, for 25 years, we have seen this cycle go around. It's a cat and mouse game between the consumers and the credit card issuers, the banks, the loyalty companies, you name it. And it just continues. And that's what we're going to be covering a lot actually in today's video. I know some people ask, well, what are some cards out there that can be used for rent and taxes that may be better? One that keeps coming up is the TD Cashback Visa Infinite card. It's 3% on recurring bills, so it's not as high as return as the Momentum Visa Infinite Plus. But it's still, you can still use it for rent and taxes. But with them, they're capped at $15,000 a year, so it's not a huge cap. So you're gonna hit that pretty quickly, especially if you're putting rent and all your taxes on that. But it is one of the card options out there. Of course, then you have the outsized value cards, like the Marriott Bonvoy American Express card, all the Aeroplan cards, any cards that earn transferable points, so like your Avion cards transferring to British Airways, American Airlines. So all those ones where you can get outsized value, where you can push a lot of value by finding the right hotel night redemptions or business class redemptions on airlines and things like that. Those ones, if you're getting 3, 4, 5, 6 cents per point, you can push, even more than 4% that you'd be getting on the Momentum card. So these are other card options that you can continue to use with Chexi and these other third-party companies offering these bill payment options. So there's a lot of opportunities still out there. It's just not that guaranteed return of 4%. So the other one I should mention too is the Neo World Elite MasterCard. The gas and groceries one has 4% on recurring bills, but that one's only capped at $500 per month. So I mean, rent, I don't know, you'd be pretty lucky if you have rent for under $500 a month. So that would be eaten up pretty quickly. But it is another option, of course, that you can consider, again, for maybe other utility payments and things like that. So there are other options out there if you were using a Momentum Visa Infinite Plus and you're looking at how you can maximize returns through these third-party companies. And next up with changes is Rogers. So there are changes coming to the Rogers Red Mastercards, sweeping changes to their entire suite of cards. These ones will start taking place November 18th. What we're seeing is a removal of the 1.5 times bonus when redeeming your cash back towards Rogers services. So the benefit that has made these cards a 3% card for Rogers customers is being removed. So it's going to be an up to 2% card for Rogers customers, 1.5% for all other cardholders. So I should note that these changes really affect Rogers customers the most. Anybody who got the card not as a Rogers customer, you can continue to do you're going to earn your 1.5%. It's still one of the best cards to use at Costco, whether or not you're a Rogers customer. So if you're not a Rogers customer, most of these changes, there's a couple changes that will affect you, but most of these will not affect you. So basically what they've done is, they're removing the 1.5 times bonus when you redeem your cash back towards Rogers services for Rogers customers. And what they're doing is replacing it with a 5% return or 5% cash back on Rogers purchases. So what they're doing is effectively moving the card from being upwards of 3% on every purchase. It's going to be 2% on every purchase for Rogers customers, but then you get a nice boost on Rogers purchases. So yeah, so in the long run, it really depends on your spending habits, because for some customers, putting 3% towards Rogers bills, that was your cap. Like if you had a $70 Rogers bill every month for your phone or whatever, it doesn't take a lot of spending where you would eat up that 3%, then you can't use it anymore and you'd still have a 2% card. So now you're just going to earn 5% on that. So for some people, 5% is actually going to work out better, especially like on big purchases from Rogers, like if you're buying a phone or something like that. But for others who are, maybe have bigger Rogers bills and could really push that 3%, that's going to be a loss for you guys. So you really have to run the numbers and look at them. If you were always using your cash back towards Rogers and only towards Rogers services, then this is most likely a devaluation for you. But for a lot of other users, it's going to be pretty close. Earning that 5% cash back instead of 2 to 3 on Rogers purchases may make up for a little bit of that difference of not redeeming for 3%, if you get what I mean. But like I said, for other Canadians who are not Rogers customers but do have the Rogers Mastercards, there's no change for you. All the earn rates will remain the same on the cards. So the next change they're also making to the Rogers Red cards is that they're getting rid of the roam like home credits that they give, and instead are just giving roaming credits. So where you could earn up to 5 roam like home days on your credit card, or you get up to 5 for free with your card. Those are being removed and you're going to get a credit. So depending on the card that you have, it's going to range from a $25 credit all the way up to a $200 credit. I have those up on the screen so you can see each of the suite of Rogers cards and their annual credits that they will give you for roaming. So for some people, this is worse. For others, this is good. It really depends on how you do your roaming services with Rogers, and if you don't take advantage of, like eSIMs from other companies and things like that. So for some people, this is going to be a good change. For others, not so good a change. I'm going to reserve saying whether it's good or bad because it really does come down to the individual. So in the last changes that are coming on our cards, and these are the ones that do affect non-Rogers customers, is there's changes to the insurance coverage on the Rogers Red World Elite and the World Elite business cards. So what they've done is they're increasing emergency travel medical insurance from 10 days to 15 days for those that are under 65 years old. Well, 64 and under. Once you're 65, you get the 3 days of coverage. So you get a boost there by 5 days for your travel, which is good. But in terms of travel, they're also removing some coverage that some people really like to have, and that is trip interruption and trip cancellation. Those are being removed from these cards. So again, it's, I feel like more people are going to focus on those ones being removed and that being a negative versus the increase in out-of-province emergency medical coverage, because a lot of people do get coverage through their work, so they don't need that coverage from the credit card. So they do rely on things like maybe trip cancellation, trip interruption. Yeah, so again, I think this is kind of more of a negative change. I feel like trip interruption, trip cancellation are used more often than the out-of-province medical coverage. But then again, people do use a lot of medical coverage outside of Canada as well. So what is interesting to note though here is their 3 days of coverage for those 65 and over. They've improved the stability period. So it used to be like 365 days you had to have a medical condition having to be stable if you're over 65 or over. They've cut that to 150. So that actually becomes one of the best in the market, because most other cards are 180, 182 days all the way up to a year, like this card used to be, for the stability period for those that are over 65. But again, the coverage is only 3 days. So, if you're going to be traveling more than 3 days, you're going to have to get additional travel insurance coverage no matter what. So, all right, so next up in credit card changes, we have RBC. They announced improvements coming to their cashback MasterCards. Yeah, so the Preferred World Elite and just their cashback no-fee MasterCard are getting changes to the earn rates and to the redemption process for the cash back. So yeah, so this is actually mostly good news, I would say, because the new cashback rates on, say, like the Preferred World Elite Mastercard are being bumped up to 3% in select categories. So these changes will be taking place as of October 1st on both of these Mastercards, and we'll dive right into the new earn rates on these cards. So on the RBC Cashback Preferred World Elite Mastercard, currently, the card earns 1.5% on all spending up to $25,000 of spending per year, and then it drops to 1%, once you're past that $25,000. So it's moving to a tiered model of unlimited 3% cash back on groceries, dining, which includes restaurants and food delivery and takeout, gas, EV charging, transit, and rideshare. So a lot of the popular categories are being bumped up, doubled from 1.5% to 3%, or even tripled if you had been spending more than $25,000 per year. And then all other spending on the card is 1% unlimited cash back. Like I said, so that 3% is a doubling of the 1.5%. So that's great. So that's actually a really good boost on this card. However, for a lot of people who've got this card because of that flat 1.5% for, cards that don't have accelerated categories, or if you're doing spending for non-accelerated categories, at 1.5% was great. Like Costco. This card has been a top 5 MasterCard to use at Costco for years on end, and it's going to lose that now because it's only going to earn 1% at Costco. So depending on the person, the changes are better, and for some people it's going to be worse. I think for the majority of Canadians, this is actually an improvement to the card. That 3% is big because it's unlimited. You're doubling your cash back. But if you were a heavy Costco user with this card, well, up to $25,000 per year, then you are losing out on that 0.5% because you're only 1%. So again, it comes down to the individual, and that is with so many of these credit card changes, loyalty program changes. It really does come down to the individual. So while it may be out there, big news, devaluation, these card changes suck and all this stuff, sometimes it doesn't. It really comes down to the person who is using that card or that loyalty program. It can be better for some, it can be worse for others. So really you have to run the numbers and see how these changes affect you as an individual. So basically what's happened with this Preferred World Elite is that these earn rates actually match exactly what you get on the Ion Plus card, except the Ion Plus card is Avion points. So which out of those two is better? The cashback card is better because the Ion Plus card, if you do not run the combination with an Avion card, does not have as big of returns. Yeah, it earns 3 points per dollar on all those same categories, but when you redeem it for travel or gift cards and things like that, it's not a one-to-one. So you're actually earning less than the cashback card. But yeah, as soon as you bring in the Avion card though, so you can do the combination, you get the good earn rates on the Ion Plus and the good redemption rates from the Avion card, then the Ion Plus card becomes equivalent or better if you're converting to airline programs like British Airways Club, American Advantage, Cathay, things like that. You can get more value out of the Avion program, of course, and then you have the Avion Air Redemption Schedule, which gives you, up to, 2.31%, 2.33%, something like that, up to a maximum return of that. So might multiply that by 3, you're up to like 7% return on your 3 times points on the Ion Plus card, which is more than double the 3% than is seen on the RBC Cashback Preferred World Elite Mastercard. So again, you have to run the numbers as an individual. There's so much to do, and hopefully I'm guiding you kind of in the right direction. If you know you're going to be redeeming for flights through the Avion Air Redemption Schedule, it's probably better that you go with the Ion Plus card than this cashback card. But if you're not a travel person, or you only redeem for any travel anytime where you get 1 point per dollar, then the cashback card is the better route than something like just using an Ion Plus card. So hope that helps if you can't make your mind up between these cards. So let's quickly look at the earn rates on the no fee card. Those really haven't changed. It's unlimited 2% cash back on groceries. So the big change there is unlimited. Before, they used to cap it at $6,000. So you're going to earn unlimited on groceries, which is great. You're also going to earn unlimited 1% cash back on gas, EV charging, rideshare, and transit. But then 0.5% on all other purchases. So right now, the way the card works is you get the 2% on groceries up to $6,000, and then 0.5% cash back on your first $6,000 of spending on card. Once you hit that $6,000 level, they bump you up to 1% cash back. So anything over $6,000, you're earning 1% instead of the new 0.5%. So the changes to this card aren't actually very good. I think for most people, it's actually going to be worse because you're going to be earning a lot less outside of the groceries, of course. You're going to be earning either just the equivalent 1%, or you're going to be earning half your cash back once you're over $6,000. So again, just something to take into consideration. The changes, I think, more positive for the World Elite card than the no fee MasterCard. But of course, with the changes to the World Elite card also comes a change to the annual fee. They are bumping it up from $99 per year to $120 per year. $21 increase, that's not too bad. They are also giving you more insurance coverage as part of that, which is great. The new insurance coverage includes out-of-province emergency medical coverage. It also includes flight delay and delayed baggage coverage, as well as mobile device insurance. So you're getting a little bit more coverage for that $21. So something to take into consideration, and you'll potentially be earning more cash back on the card as well. Where it does take a big hit though with the World Elite Mastercard is the supplementary or additional card holder. Previously, or right now, they're $0. They're free. but as of this change, they're going to be $50 a card. That's pretty high for what this card offers, but it's kind of industry standard, at least $50 these days for supplementary cards, unless it's free. There's quite a few cards out there that provide the supplementary additional cards for free. So I guess that's probably the worst news in the World Elite Cards changes, is that supplementary card is jumping up so much from $0 to $50. So what does this mean? So the World Elite Mastercard becomes, I think, a contender in the cashback market. I haven't run the numbers. I haven't plugged these numbers into my spreadsheet to see how the card ranks for our cashback rankings as to the best credit cards in Canada. But I can tell you it's going to probably be in the top 10 cards. It may not break into the top 5 that we actually list in our top cashback credit card rankings, but it's going to be close. It's become a much better card with that 3% on a lot of everyday spending. But where it does lose out, as I mentioned, it's no longer a contender for Costco warehouse purchases. It's been on our list, our top 5 list of Costco Mastercards for years on end now, and now it's going to fall out as of October 1st. And once again, if you've watched my videos for any length of time now, I've had people ask me, when are you doing a new Costco video? Well, it seems like every few weeks we're getting changes to cards where I need to keep updating the Costco article. So hopefully I'll get that feature updated here. Hopefully there's no more changes this year, because we know the Rogers changes now. We know the RBC changes, that I can make that video for you guys and do a 2026 update to the best Mastercards to use at Costco. Like I said, this RBC Cashback Preferred World Elite Mastercard will no longer be on that list. I will let you know Rogers stays there. You know, it does lose the 3%, but at 2% for Rogers customers, that is still the best option. And even for non-Rogers customers at 1.5%, it still remains in first place. So for the time being, the Rogers Red World Elite Mastercard is still the best card to use in Costco warehouses across Canada. Just a quick reminder that the cashback cards from RBC have elevated bonuses right now that have been extended to September 30th. You can get 12% cash back on the preferred World Elite Mastercard and 7% cash back on the no fee card. That's of course limited to a certain amount of spend, and like I said, you have to apply by September 30th to get in on those bonuses. As always, we'll have links to all these cards in the description below. Thank you to anybody and everybody who does apply via our links. That is how you support our mission of bringing Canadians the utmost in loyalty and credit card coverage, all for free without any membership fees. And we're still going with more credit card news. Like I said, it's been a couple weeks since we had a video, so there is so much to cover. Good news from Bank of Montreal. Yeah, this is a rarity, right? From BMO. They improved their Blue Rewards Mastercards. What they have done is improve the 10 times points earning. So you recall, I posted a video of some huge value with the BMO Blue Rewards cards when you book travel through Blue Rewards. I'll link to that video right here. You can check that out. And this expands upon that, because let me rewind a little bit here. So BMO Blue Rewards Mastercards earn 10 times points at select Blue Rewards partners. So like Dollarama, Blue Rewards Travel via Expedia, and a few of their other partners, including some new ones, which I will mention right away here. So for a card like the Blue Rewards World Elite Mastercard, 10 times points equals a 6.7% return on your spending. That is huge. How many cards out there can give you 6.7%? Now it is, of course, the select Blue Rewards partners, but they've been adding to that. Even since the last time I did the video, they've added more partners. I'm going to touch upon that right after this, like I said. So you're getting 6.7% return, but what was limiting was that it was limited to $1,000 per month of spending at those partners. And that is the big change. So they have changed the spending cap for 10 times points. It is now no longer monthly, it's going to be annual, and it's up to $25,000. So what that allows is you can go do a big travel booking through Blue Rewards Travel powered by Expedia, say $5,000 in flights, all at once, and you're going to earn 10 times points on that whole amount, as long as you haven't hit the $25,000 for the 10 times point category yet for a year. So that is huge, like almost a 7% return on your travel. Well, actually, when you're booking through Blue Rewards Travel, you also earn your Blue Rewards points for doing the booking. As I said in that video, so make sure you watch it, it's up to an 8.8% return depending on your elite level within the Blue Rewards program. So now you can get that huge return on bigger purchases through Blue Rewards Travel via Expedia. You can get it at Timber Mart. You can do Dollarama. I don't know if anybody's spending $25,000 at Dollarama, but if you're going to earn that accelerated earn rate on a lot more of your monthly purchases, because your spending cap is now yearly instead of monthly. And before it worked out to $12,000 per year at $1,000 per month, now it's more than double that. So that is huge. And I should mention that this also extends to the no fee cards. Their annual cap's going to be $15,000, but before it was like $6,000, it was like $500 per month. So again, a big increase there. On the no-fee cards, that works out to 3.35% in return. That's again a really big return for a no-fee card. So if anybody out there has kind of written off, Blue Rewards, or as we used to call it, Air Miles, have another look at it, because the new partners that have been added into the 10 times points are select Accor hotel brands. So we see the addition of Fairmont, Sofitel, Novotel, Emblems Collection, and Raffles hotels to the 10 times points. So if you're going to go stay at the Fairmont Banff Springs, you're looking at $600, upwards of $1,000, or even more than $1,000 per night, or the new Rimrock Emblems Collection in Banff, which during this month, August, is like $1,700 per night. That old $1,000 cap would have been eaten up quickly for your Accor stays, because now that Accor is a partner in 10 times points. But because we have this new cap, you can go do a multi-night stay at a fancy Fairmont hotel, and you're going to get a 6.7% return on that by using the card at these places. So this is huge. And then you also have the card linked offers. So I'm going to have a whole nother article just focusing on the Accor Hotel 10 times points feature of the BMO Blue Rewards cards. I'm actually surprised more people aren't talking about this, especially in the points and miles community, because Fairmont is such an iconic Canadian brand. A lot of us do like to stay at Fairmont hotels. The Sofotels and Novotels in Ontario, Quebec are used quite a bit. So the 10 times points, though, will not work at the M Gallery in Vancouver, because that's not one of the brands that's included. But for the majority of Accor hotels in Canada, and then of course outside of Canada, this is pretty big. This is a big earn rate. So stay tuned, because I'm going to be discussing this a lot more, because I think this is worthy of the coverage to get that sort of return on Accor hotel stays, because you're still going to be earning your all Accor rewards points as well on top of that. So just so much that we can connect here with these loyalty programs and credit cards. All right, so now I'm going to catch up on some news from the previous week, and these are just some new welcome bonus offers on credit cards. So we saw the return of the record high bonuses on the RBC Avion cards. I already mentioned that if you want to connect it to an Ion Plus card. So the Avion Visa Infinite Privilege, the 100,000 point offer is back. This is what we saw earlier this year. Talked about in a few of our videos. I'm not going to go into what you can get for the points. I have a bunch of examples in our blog post, so I'll link to that in the description below. I'll just go over the bonus so that you know what it is. So basically you earn 35,000 points on approval. That's the usual bonus. That's what these cards are great for, is that initial bonus. Then you're going to earn 20,000 more points if you spend $5,000 on the card in your first 6 months. Again, a very easy spend, less than $1,000 a month, and you're at 55,000 points within 6 months. But what they've done is now boosted the anniversary bonus to 45,000 points. This is the same as we saw earlier this year. So that's going to get you 100,000 points after you hold on to the card into the second year, because that 45,000 points is an anniversary bonus, and that's not awarded until like 12 to 16 weeks after your anniversary. So they're making sure you're holding on to that card for the second year. But of course, with a $399 annual fee, that 45,000 points is worth $450 or more. So you are coming out ahead each year with the points. So big bonus. Like I said, check out the link below so that you can see examples of what type of travel you can use. It's huge. It's a huge bonus to use for a lot of travel. As I always state with Avion cards, this is what they're best for, is these welcome bonuses. They get you a lot of travel really fast with a lot of points. So check it out. After that, you may want to consider the Ion Plus Avion card combo, because the Ion Plus is the faster points earner for your everyday spending if you're going to stay within the Avion ecosystem. And then the RBC Avion Visa Infinite card has its record bonus back of 70,000 points, same one we saw earlier this year. So same thing here, 35,000 points on approval, 20,000 points when you spend 5,000 in the first 6 months, and then it has a 15,000 point anniversary bonus. Again, those 15,000 points will be worth at least $150. Annual fee is only $120, so you're coming out ahead with that. Potentially more, of course, if you convert to British Airways, American Airlines, etc., or use the Avion Air redemption schedule. And the last thing we'll cover in credit cards is another increased welcome bonus, a welcome offer, including a first year free. And this is exclusive to partners like Rewards Canada. You will not find this on this issuer's website. You have to go through somebody like Rewards Canada. And that is a rare welcome bonus and first year free offer on the Neo World Elite Mastercards. So we've talked about those cards as well. I'll link to the video the last time we talked about them here, where they've split into 3 variations. So they have the gas and grocery, they have the shop and dine, and the everywhere version, which you can switch between every 90 days. So the offer that partners like Rewards Canada have, which I'll have the link below, which you can take advantage of because you have to use our links to be able to get this offer, is that you're going to earn $100 cash back after spending $1,500 on the card in the first 3 months. So $500 a month to get $100 cash back. Nice little bonus. Where that gets boosted is you're getting an annual fee waiver as well in the first year. So the normal annual fee on this card is $149 per year. You get it through our special offer. You're paying $0 in the first year. So this is a good way to test out the Neo cards if you've never tested them out. The Everywhere card, I'm going to point that one out because that earns 2% at Costco. It is one of the highest earn rates for Costco, but we actually rank it the second best card for Costco because of that annual fee of $149 compared to Rogers 1.5% with no annual fee. So right now, if you take advantage of the offer that we have, this is actually the best card to use at Costco for your first year because you're going to earn 2% cash back up to, I believe it's $4,000 of spending per month. A very good option here. Of course, their gas and grocery cards great too, 5% on groceries. Shop and Dine as well, 5% on dining. It is one of the better dining cards out there now. So very good options from Neo. And with our exclusive offer, this is a good way to test out the cards to see if you like them. And that wraps it up for credit card news for the past 2 weeks. Before we jump into loyalty and travel news, let me remind you, our 25th anniversary celebrations keep continuing. Congratulations to Nick, who won our YouTube video contest from our last video. He won 2 passes to Plaza Premium lounges here in Canada. And we do have another contest running right now until August 29th. And that is a chance to win 2 US $50 Gig Sky gift cards and 2 Plaza Premium lounge passes as well. Now you may be wondering, it's like, why are you running what we call our surprise kind of smaller contest right now for the second time this month? And that is because we've had a postponement in our big August contest to September. So what that means is we're going to have 2 big contests in September. September is going to be huge in terms of prizing for our 2 big contests, which is perfect because September is when we actually turn 25. I know we've been celebrating all year long, but as of September, Rewards Canada is officially 25 years old. So keep an eye out for those. You can enter all the contests. You don't, if you've won before, you can enter again, all the new contests. There's no rules about, once you've won, you can't enter. So everybody be sure to come and enter and watch out for those big contests as well in September. There'll be a link in the description below where you can go enter this month's contest to win those 2 Gig Sky gift cards and 2 Plaza Premium lounge passes. Good luck, everybody. So that brings us to loyalty and travel news. And why don't we start it off with the good news? And that is our first look at the new Air Transat Rewards program. So it looks like it's been in a test phase for roughly a month or just over a month or so. And we just learned about it. And we've had some of the Rewards Canada community help us out learning about it because you had to be invited to be part of the test phase. I was not invited, probably because I'm in Calgary. Air Transat doesn't fly to Calgary, so I can't, test out the earn and burn and all that stuff. So thank you to several of the Rewards Canada community who have been feeding me some of the information on the Air Transat Rewards program. So as I mentioned, this is in the test phase, so not everybody can join it yet, but at least you can get an idea of what it's going to be like. Now they have stressed that it can change and evolve over time, and it has even in the past week or so that I've been writing about it. Had I done a video last week, we wouldn't know of some of the news that I will be discussing here in this week's video. So I'm going to cover everything that we know so far with the Air Transat Rewards program. So basically, as far as we know, it's called Air Transat Rewards, or maybe Transat Rewards, not 100% sure. You go to their website and it says Rewards. There's a little thing, I think it says Rewards on their website. So, and I can't really find it in the terms and conditions, like a full name for it. So I'm going with Air Transat Rewards, but it may be Transat Rewards because they do vacations as well. So like I said, it's kind of a test phase right now, and they did have an option to join the wait list. I did join the wait list, but I have not been invited yet. If somebody else in the community has, and you've been invited to join, let me know because I may use you as our guinea pig to test things out for us. You can leave me a comment below or email me at info@rewardscanada.ca. But yeah, so basically you can just join the wait list or just wait for the program to launch. Now, when is the program going to launch? They say it's going to be later this year. So I mean September, October, November, December. We have 4 months left basically this year. So hopefully it's going to be sooner than later. I feel like it's actually going to be pretty soon. I feel like September, October, they probably want to get it fully in play before winter vacations start, right? That's the big time for their vacation packages. So I have a feeling we'll see the program launch by October because then everybody's going to be going out and booking their vacation packages, and that's going to be a big boost by having a loyalty program. People may start choosing Transat vacations over, say, like Sunwing or WestJet or Air Canada, something like that. Now you can earn, of course, all those other loyalty programs with those other ones, but by having that loyalty program, Air Transat can now compete with all those other vacation providers that do have loyalty programs attached to them. So right now, when the program launched, this is going back on my news from just over a week ago, you could only earn points on Air Transat flights, and that varied depending on the fare class you would buy. So Eco Budget is 3 points per dollar, Eco Standard or Club Standard 5 points per dollar spent, and Eco Flex or Club Flex 7 points per dollar spent. And that earn rate is on the entire fare, and I believe carrier surcharges as well. I'm still trying to clarify that, but they just say taxes and fees aren't included. So of course your government taxes you won't earn points on, and like airport fees you won't earn points on. That's the same across all loyalty programs, right? They will only award you points on things that they make money on. So I'm pretty sure you're going to earn on carrier surcharges. Maybe one of the people who have been invited, you can confirm that, whether, even if you do a dummy booking and it shows you how many points you earn, you can let me know if you're earning on the carrier surcharges. I think it would make sense for the program because, Air Transat is famous for sometimes $2 airfares to Europe, and the rest is carrier surcharges and then taxes and fees. So you're going to earn on $2? Yeah, not really. But if there's $600 in carrier surcharges, you'll be earning on $602, which makes a lot more sense for the program than just earning on $2. And what we did learn, thanks to the Rewards Canada community just in the past few days, is that the program has now been expanded to actually earning points on packages. So when you book a flight hotel package or flight hotel and transfers package through Transat Vacations, you will earn 1 point per $1 spent on the entire package except for fees and taxes as well. So it's lower earn rate than flights, but again, you're earning now on hotels and transfers as well. And of course, a lot of times the flights as part of those packages are the cheapest part of the package. So how that compares to just earning on flights really will come down to the individual purchase at that time. So I'm not going to try and make that comparison, but do know you can earn 1 point per $1 spent before taxes and fees on Transat vacation packages. Of course, I'm saying this like as if everybody can do that, but of course you can't yet because it's just test phase. But give us a month or two. I bet you will be all earning on Transat packages. Well, I won't because Transat doesn't fly to Calgary, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so now when you buy extras on your Air Transat flights, you will also earn points. So they will award you 5 points per dollar on things like Option Plus, seat selection, checked bags, all those type of extras. So kind of like what WestJet does, right? They let you earn points on all those purchases. Air Transat will do the same thing. The only difference though is you have to do it online at your time of booking, or if you add it to your booking a certain time ahead, I believe, it's 48 hours before departure for seat selection, checked bags, pre-order meals 72 hours before departure. So if you're doing any of that last minute, you will not earn the 5 points per dollar. So redeeming points in the Air Transat program, we don't know what the redemption rates are. At least I haven't heard yet from the Rewards Canada community. They do have a screenshot on their website and it looked wrong. It doesn't look right in terms of points redemption. So I'm not going by that because it would have been a very good value, which I believe it's not going to be. So hopefully one of the Rewards Canada community, I'm reaching out to you guys. Maybe you can go in if you've earned some points where you can actually do a dummy redemption. Please let me know what the redemption rates are like for the program. Now, what they're going to allow is a variety of redemption options. You can do partial redemptions like you can like with WestJet, Air Canada, Aeroplan. So what they're going to allow you to do is redeem at 10% of the fare with points, 20%, 30%, 40%, all the way up to 100%. So 100% option will cover the entire cash portion of the airfare before airport taxes, fees, and other applicable charges. Of course, once we know the redemption rates, if the Rewards Canada community comes through for me, I will cover it in another video and let you know, kind of what the value is, what the value proposition is of the earn and burn, because that's what we always talk about is you have to look at both sides of the equation, but we also have to learn about the upcoming credit cards from Desjardins for the Air Transat program. We don't know any of the details yet. We know it's a suite of cards. They're going to be Visa cards issued by Desjardins, but no details have been revealed yet. I'm sure we'll see those in the next couple months here. And then we can also work on the value proposition of that as well. And until we know the redemption rates, we cannot work out the earn to burn equation for flights, for earning points through Transat Rewards or earning points on their credit cards. And I should note too, so right now the points earning is just on Air Transat flights. So if you have a flight that is Air Transat with Porter or Air Transat code share to like Turkish Airlines, I just see that they've expanded their code share with Turkish Airlines, like to Dubai. Those will not earn points. It has to be 100% Air Transat. There's no word on whether that will be expanded, like you'll earn points on those combined itineraries or if you fly with Porter, and no word on redemptions, like if you can redeem points on those mixed itineraries or eventually be able to redeem on Porter like you can with Porter Airlines VI Porter points, how you can redeem on Air Transat. I'm sure that's all stuff we're going to find out in the next few months because this is just a first look at Air Transat Rewards. Now, let's jump into some bad news in loyalty programs, and that is from our beloved Air France KLM Flying Blue. We've talked about them so much this year because there have been so many improvements for the Canadian market outside of the fees that they've increased on reward flights due to increased fuel costs. So now we're seeing another change from Flying Blue, and it is considered a negative one. I would consider a negative one. So what they're doing is moving to a 3-tier redemption model for the starting points amount on reward flights. So you have to remember with Flying Blue, they're just like Aeroplan. They price dynamically for their rewards. So depending on the cash price, there may not be a starting point flight at 60,000 points for business class. They may start at 110, 120, so on and so forth. But for whenever they have what I'll call a saver reward, even though they didn't call it saver rewards, but when they have their lowest amounts out there, so right now like 25,000 for economy, 40,000 for premium economy, 60,000 for business class, these are all one-way amounts. All of those included quite a bit of benefits when you fly, like you get your first check bag free, things like that. That's changing. So those amounts now will be called light fares. They're going to be light, and they won't include check bags, or I mean business will, but it's only going to be one check bag. The old 60,000 point for business, like what is now standard, I'll talk about standard amounts, included business class lounge access. It will no longer include business class lounge access. All of them will have different change fees and things like that. And then they're going to have new standard fares, which are the old saver fares, which I was just mentioning. So like that 60,000 business class redemption one way is going to be 75,000 out of Canada, and that will include 2 check bags. So basically, for what we're getting right now, it's an increase in miles, so it is a devaluation.
What did you say, Flintstone?
So you still can get the cheaper redemption amounts, and of course Flying Blue promo rewards will discount all those, and I'm hoping that they will discount the standard fares as well. And then of course they have the higher up fare, which I haven't touched upon yet, which they are calling Flex, and that is their most comprehensive fare. These are refundable, they're changeable, there's no fees for any of that type of stuff. They include 2 check bags, everything you want, and they actually give you a reduction in the fees and taxes that you pay on your reward flights, but of course you're paying a lot more miles. As you see on your screen, they range from 60,000 miles for light all the way up to 110,000 for a flex business fare. So this is a US example, but the redemption rates are the same from Canada. Other, of course, will be in Canadian dollars, but the mileage that you need to use is the same. Really some unfortunate changes because, Flying Blue has been such a good program for Canadians for the last, half a dozen years, maybe longer. I mean, God, they used to have even lower starting points, and those were increased, and it was still such a good program, equal to or better than Aeroplan, especially for economy class. I've always said that Flying Blue is like one of the best programs for transatlantic flights in economy class. The potential's still there, but yeah, we're going to be paying more miles. Of course, we had the changes this year that were improved. The transfer rates from American Express membership rewards to Flying Blue went 1-to-1. But now we're going to be paying more miles to get the better flights. So, I mean, it comes back down to like 1 to 0.75, the equivalent of that, basically. So again, it comes back to like earlier in my video, it's a whole cat and mouse game between consumers and the programs. Of course, if you hold elite status with Air France KLM Flying Blue or SkyTeam Elite status, these changes they're fine because you still get check bag, and just having silver elite status in Flying Blue or SkyTeam Elite status, you'll get check bags. Of course, a higher SkyTeam Elite status will get you lounge access. There are ways to get past these changes where you can redeem the least amount of miles for a light reward ticket and get all these benefits. Of course, you have the SkyTeam status matches. You have like Kenya Airways, Vietnam Airlines. I've talked about them in our videos. They're up on the Rewards Canada website, so you can get SkyTeam Elite status because the Flying Blue status match that was out there where you could match like Air Canada Aeroplan status, that is no longer available to Canadians right now. Hopefully it comes back to Canadians. But yeah, for Canadians, you can match the Kenya Airways or Vietnam Airlines, and some of these you can use hotel programs too, and even credit card programs to pay for a status match. So you're still paying for it. But yeah, if you're somebody who's going to fly maybe once or twice per year on reward tickets through Flying Blue and you want to book at that light amount, you may want to look at one of those status matches so that you get your first check bag free and perhaps lounge access as well. So the one thing I also talked about was like, what about the Air France KLM World Elite Mastercard that's powered by Brim here in Canada? Is it time for an update? I think so. I think with these light fares, they need to add a first check bag free to that credit card because they're revenue fares. You don't get the first check bag free. I feel like that would be a great boost to the credit card and get more people into the ecosystem. Once if they're going to fly Air France KLM once, getting the credit card can save them those baggage fees. And if they like Air France and KLM, they may look at the Flying Blue program as something better for them than, say, perhaps Aeroplan or WestJet Rewards or something like that. So hopefully that's something we see. That's just something I pondered, my kind of editorial opinion that I put into my blog post, that, yeah, it's time for an update for the World Elite Mastercard to include at least a check bag, because of how these light fares no longer include check bags. And the last things we're going to look at in loyalty and travel, these are from a couple weeks ago on the website. There is a new but apparently old Avios calendar that you can get on avios.com, which helps you search for availability on British Airways and Iberia and Aer Lingus. So I have some screenshots on the screen. This is actually a really good tool, because if you've ever tried searching just on like British Airways website, it's horrible to try and find award availability. It's not very good at finding award availability. So this avios.com, which is the general for all Avios airlines, well, British Airways, Aer Lingus, and Iberia mainly. I think they're going to bring others in eventually, because they have updated the site in the past 2 weeks. They had like other cities in there, but now it's just limited to the Canadian cities that these airlines fly to, which is Montreal, Vancouver, and Toronto. Before they had Calgary and other cities in there. But anyways, I'm kind of going off topic there. So this calendar makes it a lot easier to find award availability for using your Avios, which of course are big in Canada because of Avion rewards conversions to Avios and American Express membership rewards conversions to Avios. And we even have the RBC British Airways Visa Infinite card as well. So there's a lot of ways to earn Avios in Canada. It's probably up there equal to or even used more than Flying Blue, but lower than Aeroplan and WestJet Rewards. But it is one of the more popular ones, definitely in the points and miles community. So this calendar helps you out. Right now, the calendar only shows British Airways, Aer Lingus, and Iberia flights. So that's why it's limited to Vancouver, Montreal, and Toronto. It only works on non-stop flights right now. They don't show connecting flights. They will add that in the future, it's said on the website. And then we think more airlines and cities will be added on, because when this news came out like about 2 weeks ago, like I said, they had Calgary in there. They included like cities like Chicago and Dallas from Calgary and from Toronto, and they had like Nadi, Fiji from Vancouver. All those have disappeared. So obviously they're working on adding One World Airlines and other airlines to it and connecting routes. So once that happens, I think this is going to become an even more powerful tool. And lastly, you don't actually book on avios.com. Once you find the availability, you click book now and it'll send you to the right website, whether it's Aer Lingus, Iberia, or British Airways, to actually book your flights. But what I did find out when I was fooling around with this calendar is that British Airways has rolled back their increase in Avios between Toronto and Dublin. So yeah, that famous 26,000 Avios flight, which I've discussed many times, how I said British Airways, you had to spend 31,000 round trip, 15,500 one way. So you would have to, transfer points to British Airways and then transfer from British Airways to Aer Lingus. You no longer have to do that. British Airways has rolled back to match Aer Lingus again. So now you can just go to British Airways and just spend 13,000 Avios to get a one-way flight between Toronto and Dublin in economy class, 26,000 round trip. One of the best redemptions out there. We've talked about it for probably 15 years or so, and it's still out there. It's a great redemption option for people who fly economy class over to Europe. So that's it for loyalty and travel news. That leaves us with one thing, the Rewards Canada Bonus Blast. What is the Rewards Canada Bonus Blast? That is where we look at some of the more notable bonus miles and points offers that we've added to the website over the past week, or in this case, the past 2 weeks. As we're already approaching 1 hour with this video, I am going to keep this short and quick. We're going to look at just some of the offers I added this week. The first one is from Air Canada Aeroplan. They do this offer a few times per year, and that is a discount when you use points to book hotels or car rentals through Air Canada. So it's up to a 20,000 point discount. You'll get a 15,000 point discount when you redeem 75,000 or more points for a hotel stay via Aeroplan hotels. This also works on their 4th night free option when you're an Aeroplan co-brand card holder. Also works on their hotel savers rates. So this is a great little discount on it. It gives you more value for your points. When you redeem via Aeroplan hotels, it's usually a decent value. I mean, it's usually below 2 cents per point, but it's pretty equivalent to an economy class flight, and that's before this discount. So with this discount, you may actually be getting more value for your points redeeming for a hotel than you would for an economy class flight. So just something to take into consideration. And if you're getting that 4th night free, that's even better, right? So even more value for your points. So this is valid for bookings made until September 1st. Now you do have to have the full amount of points first, and then you apply the code, which is Hotel 826, 8 for August 20 and 26 for 2026, so Hotel 826, and you apply that code and you'll get a 15,000 point discount. You can't go in with 60,000 points and try and book it for 60 after getting the discount. You have to go in with 75 and they will subtract 15,000. Same thing for car rentals here with a promo code, but they're going to give you 20,000 points back on only a 60,000 point redemption for car rentals. So book that one by September 1st. Use the code AUTO, AUTO 826 to get that discount as well. And then another redemption offer here. This one is actually, it is a bonus, but it's for when you redeem miles, and that's from Cathay Pacific and their Cathay program. So they're giving up to 16% back in miles when you redeem for economy class or premium economy flights to or from Hong Kong. So that includes their flights from Vancouver and Toronto. So what they're doing is they're giving you 800 miles back. So it's a rebate. So you have to have the full amount of miles at the time of booking. They're giving you 800 miles back for every 5,000 Asia miles that you redeem for. And they'll give you a maximum rebate of 80,000 miles. This one needs to be booked by August 27th, and it's good for award travel between September 10th and December 10th, 2026. So a typical round trip economy class between Vancouver and Hong Kong's 50,000 Asia miles. That means you'll get 8,800 miles back afterwards. Toronto is usually 76,000 Asia miles for an economy class, so you'd be looking at 12,000 Asia miles coming back to your account. The last offer we're going to look at is one we see a couple times per year, and that is from Best Western Rewards. They have their travel card bonus back. So every time you buy a $100 Best Western travel card, it can be in Canadian dollars, US dollars, euros, or British pounds, they're going to give you a $20 or equivalent, whatever currency you buy it in, bonus card. So the travel card is like any gift card. There's no expiry. You can use that towards your Best Western stays any time in the future. But the bonus card, because it is an incentive, they do put an expiry date on that, and that is February 28th, 2027. So you'll really only want to go out and buy these gift cards if you know you can use those $20 bonus cards for your Best Western stays. So for those who are regulars staying at Best Westerns, this is a no-brainer. You're going to get an extra $20 to use towards your stays with these bonus cards. You do have to buy the gift cards by September 2nd, and it's limited up to 5 cards. You can buy 5 $100 gift cards, so $500, and get $100 in bonus cards on top of that. As always, remember to check out the Rewards Canada bonus offers section at rewardscanada.ca/bonuses.html before you book any travel, whether it's flights, hotels, car rentals, you name it. Those are your ticket to earning more miles, more points, and more rewards. You'd be surprised at how many Canadians are booking travel without knowing that they could be earning even more points and miles. And of course, there's some out there who don't even put a loyalty number on their travel, so they're not earning anything. If you're not taking advantage of bonus offers, you're leaving money on the table. Those bonus offers help grow your balances faster so that you can redeem for bigger rewards or for rewards sooner than you were planning to. And a quick reminder that we have links to all the topics covered in today's video in the description below. And if you like today's video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel if you don't do so yet, hit that notification bell so you're notified when we do post new videos, share the video with friends, family, coworkers, you name it, anybody you think can benefit from the topics we cover here. And leave us a comment below, whether it's a question on anything to do with loyalty or credit cards, a correction on something I may have got wrong, or if you just want to say hi. I do my best to respond to all comments on our videos. And that's all she wrote for this week. Be sure to check out rewardscanada.ca and or our socials on a daily basis, because there are things that do not make it into this video. There's a lot of short-term offers that don't even make it into our newsletter as well. But at the very least, you should be subscribing to that newsletter, because every Friday you get a roundup of all the news and topics that we have on the website. That comes out every Friday. And then on Saturdays is the Rewards Canada Bonus Bulletin. That is your complete summary of all the bonus miles and points offers we've added to the website for that previous week. Those are your ticket to earning more miles, more points, and more rewards. Thank you everybody for tuning in this week. Have yourselves a great weekend. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.